Welcome to After Dark Creations Art and Review. I'm Jen, your artist and monster buddy, here to share my love of cult films, music, movies, television, and general pop culture with you. This week, I'll be reviewing Psycho. Psycho was released in June of 1960 and was directed by Alfred Hitchcock. It was written by Joseph Stefano and was based on the novel by Robert Bloch. The film stars Anthony Perkins as Norman Bates and Janet Leigh as Marion Crane. Psycho has an 8.5 out of 10 on IMDb and a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. The story of Norman Bates was inspired by the real-life serial killer Ed Gein. The film pushed boundaries and is considered a landmark in the horror genre. Fun fact, Psycho was the first film to show a toilet flushing on screen. It also contained numerous controversial scenes, including Marion's post-coital conversation with her boyfriend Sam. Alluding to premarital trysts were very scandalous in the 1960s. This movie had it all. A crazed, mommy-loving psycho, a thief who didn't get her redemption, and a toilet flushing. I love this movie, I love every scene in it, and I even really enjoy the strange and quirky, unsettling twists that Hitchcock adds in each scene. Alright, enough of the interesting factoids, let's get into the plot. Marion Crane is on the run after stealing money from her employer, and she heads to the Bates Motel to escape her rising guilt and a rather perilous rainstorm. She encounters the owner, Norman, and eyes his collection of taxidermied birds on his wall. This is a massive red herring. They engage in conversation, and Norman shares his tragic story about caring for his mentally ill mother. Marion is touched by Norman's story, and she decides to head back home and return the stolen money the following morning. They have dinner together before Marion departs to her room. There, Norman spies on her from a hole in the wall. As Marion showers, she is attacked by a silhouetted figure that the audience is made to believe is Norman's mentally ill mother. Moments after the brutal attack, Norman arrives and finds Marion's body and cleans up all evidence of the crime. He takes all of her belongings, including the stolen money that is wrapped in a newspaper, and stashes it in the trunk of Marion's car, then sinks the car into the swamp behind the motel. Marion's sister, Lila, arrives to confront Sam about the disappearance of her sister, and they are approached by Milton Arbogast, a private investigator. Arbogast informs them that Marion is wanted for theft, and informs them he is investigating hotels in the area. Mr. Arbogast reaches the Bates Motel and speaks with Norman. Norman is jumpy, and Arbogast is suspicious. He phones Lila to update her on his encounter at the Bates Motel, then heads up to the Bates home located on the hill above the hotel. As he enters the home, he heads upstairs and is murdered. After not hearing from Arbogast, Sam and Lila head to the hotel to check out his lead. Sam sees Mrs. Bates' silhouetted figure standing in the window, and they decide to speak to the local police. While at the police station, they discover that Mrs. Bates died in a murder-suicide 10 years ago. The police are unconvinced of Norman's involvement in Marion's disappearance, and Sam and Lila head back to the hotel to further investigate. Norman is shown arguing with his mother as he takes her from her room and carries her to the fruit cellar. Later, Sam distracts Norman while Lila sneaks into the house. Norman knocks out Sam and runs to his home. Lila heads to the fruit cellar and finds Mrs. Bates' decomposing but creepily preserved corpse in a rocking chair. Lila screams and Norman enters the room brandishing a knife. He's wearing a wig and his mother's dress. Sam attacks Norman from behind and subdues him. The next scene shows Norman sitting in a jail cell as Marion and Sam are talking with the psychiatrist, who explains that Norman murdered Mrs. Bates and her lover 10 years ago. He then exhumed her corpse and taxidermied her to preserve her remains. He began to take on the guise of his mother, dressing in her clothes and speaking in her voice. Norman took on the persona of mother as an alternate personality. The mother personality is violent and jealous. When Norman was attracted to Marion, Mother was compelled to kill her. He then informs Sam and Lila that the mother persona has taken hold and is in control. The next scene shows Norman as Mother sitting in the jail cell, letting a fly land on his/her hand and saying, "Let them see. I wouldn't even hurt a fly," as a cruel grin extends across his/her face. The film closes with the shot of Marion's car being pulled from the swamp. The film is startling, and the character development and the killing off of the presumed protagonist sets the viewer on edge for the entirety of the film. The composition of each scene and shot could easily be a work of art, and it was hard to narrow down a single image to depict from the film. Ultimately, I chose to depict Mother in all her taxidermied, worm-eaten, creepy-looking glory. I chose to make her monochromatic and black and white to match the film and to give it the same kind of feel. Tell me what was your favorite scene from Psycho in the comment section below, or let me know what is your favorite Hitchcock film in the comment section below. Maybe I'll review it in the future. As always, thank you for watching. I'm Jen, and let's keep it spooky, friends.